All right, thank you, Ike. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
For today's class, we'll continue from where we stopped in our Bootstrap class. But for those who are finding it difficult to search for images to use on their website, most of the tasks that you're given, you are provided with images. Like the last task we given, I personally sent images across. So if you do not find it, maybe you can ask for it later after the class. Okay, so today we'll be starting from where we stopped in our last class. Okay, let me share my screen. Akinola, your hand is up. Do you have a question?
Yes, Ma, please, I wanted to ask something. I was trying using the Bootstrap, but just like the page you are currently now, I realized that there is an extent to which I can control the padding and some other things. For example, while using the Bootstrap, I noticed the example you did, that the one I practiced on my own, that the padding here, that is the padding between the left and the right side of this our services under need help right now, that part. It is not possible for me to draw it more closer. For example, if I want to reduce, like this padding here, maybe it's not even up to 10 pixels. That is the padding between, the margin between these two sides, the side one and side two. The margin between them is a very short one. But under the Bootstrap, maybe we have not gotten to it or something. I was not able to bring it closer. And even the same thing, if I'm trying to put a distance between the current work that is two sections, if I want to put distance between the two sections, if I'm using padding top, the PT that is on the Bootstrap, I think the maximum is PT5. That's padding top of 5. So I wanted to ask, is there a way that I can increase that padding top? Maybe I want that the space there to increase more than the predefined one. So that's what I wanted to ask, Ma.
All right, we'll be looking at that in this session today. Okay. Does any other person have a question before we start? Okay, so this is what we had in our last session. Okay, so we did up to this point. For today, we'll continue from this section downward. And you have to know that there is a limit to what you can do with Bootstrap. So that is why you have to understand your CSS very well, so that with your custom CSS, you can change some of the Bootstrap classes and then use it to fit whatever you're given to do. So we'll be looking at this section on our page. So this is the templates we given to work, or the templates we worked on last time. So for today, we'll continue from here, this section, and then just try and finish up everything. Then I'll try and carry everyone along so that we understand how to use Bootstrap very well. Okay, so let's just get started. I already have my folder opened in my IDE, that is my VS Code. So I don't want to go over showing you how to open a folder with VS Code. I want to believe that you already know that. But before we even start, I would like to show you how to use Google Fonts, how to import Google Fonts into your project. So what you basically do to add a font in your project is going to font.google.com. Okay, so this font.google.com has so many fonts you can choose from. Like, for example, we have Roboto and so many other ones here. Then if you know the font you want to use, you can quickly search for a particular font. I love using Notosan. Nunito. Yeah, Nunito-san. So this is one of my favorite fonts. So what you just do after searching is to click on that particular font, okay? So after searching for the one you want to use, you just click on it, okay? And then when you click on it, you go to this, select this cell. We have bold, we have different types of font size, font weight rather, for that particular font. We have the one for italic, we have a bold font, we have a light font, we have a normal font. So you just select the one that suits your project most, okay? So for me, I will select this, let me select this semicolon. Okay. So when you click on click on select this style, okay, you see this pop-up coming up here. Then you click on, is either you copy, there are two ways to use the font. Is either you copy, you click on the link here, or you click on at import. So when you click on the link, you copy the HTML code to your head section of your web page, okay? Or you can click on at import and then copy the style here to your CSS. Then when you don't copy the style to your CSS, you can now select CSS rules to specify families. Also copy this to your CSS as well, to the section you want to apply that font to. So let's try this import method. I'll just copy that, then go to my CSS, okay? Then just before my style, I'll paste it there. Then I'll still go back to the Google Fonts and then select the font family property. Then copy that, and then to my CSS, I want to use it on my body, the whole body. So is either I specify here body, or I use it for or for everything in the HTML. So I would just paste it here. Then when you reload your site, you see that your font will change automatically. Okay. So this is actually working. If we inspect, you see that you see that font there. So when you click on inspect, you go to body, okay. You should see that font. Oops, sorry. Let me open that page. Let me open this way. Live server. Okay, so when you click on inspect, then just click on the whole body. Okay, so you see the font. If I remove this from here, you see that it changes to the normal font I have. Okay, so that is just how you can use Google Font on your project. All right, so let's continue. Okay, so I have this section to work on. So what I will need now is with Bootstrap, I will need, let me create that section. Okay. Then if you notice, you see that there is something like a background color under a lighter background. Okay. So for that lighter background, Bootstrap has a background color that looks similar to what we have there. Let me open Bootstrap. Bootstrap.com. Okay. Yeah, go to get started. Then you can search for a background image, background color rather. Okay, so let's go to colors. Okay, so these are the different background colors we have in Bootstrap. We have primary, BG primary, we have BG secondary, we have BG light, we have BG body, we have BG white, and the rest of them. So what we'll be using here is BG light. So I'll just copy that class and then go to my VS Code. Then add the class to the section I want to apply it. Okay. So I'll just paste the class there. Then the next thing is for us to create this, to add this image and this content. So for the image here, I'll be using a background image for this. So what I'll do is to create a div for that particular section, okay, for the image section. But then you see that we are having two columns here. So for this, with Bootstrap, you need a row. You need a row, so we specify the row with the row class, okay? And then for each of the columns, you have, we specify the columns as well with the class called for the for a smaller screen, I'll use 12. For a medium screen, I will use 6. Then for a larger screen like my my laptop, I will use 6 too. Okay. For a larger screen, I will use 6 as well. All right. Then I'll create another div for the image. So for this div, I'll call it let me call it image. Let me just use image IMG electrician. Okay. Okay, let me use this. All right, so this is what we'll be using to add the background image. Then I'll copy this class to my CSS, to my custom CSS. Okay. Then the image, I'll add my image property, image, and then the URL, then the name of the image. The name of the image is let me get the name of. Okay. The image is inside images folder. So what I will do is to go out of this CSS folder. Okay, so just a step out with 2 dots, that is // will take you out of the particular folder you are in. Then out of that folder, I'll now locate my image folder, which is inside images. Then inside the images folder, I have the name of the image. Okay. Okay, so for the rows and the columns, I actually specified for the smaller screen as well. The smaller screen is this called 12. If you are using code 12, it works for all the screen. So this automatically works for both large, small, and big screen. But then I have to specify for a medium screen since this is already for all the screen. Okay. So if I don't specify for a smaller screen, this code 12 will automatically work for a smaller screen. Then specifying for MD6 works for a medium screen. Then call LG6 works for a larger screen. Then the rest of the screen takes code 12. Okay. Rachel, I hope that answers your question. All right. So let's proceed. For my image, I would like to have a background position. Okay, let me just initial. I would like to have a background size of cover. Background size cover. Okay, so that will have that 100% width. Then I will have a background repeat of none so that if the image is not up to the size of my div, it will not repeat. Okay, background repeat of none, no repeat. Then then I would also like to have the height of 100 view height, but since Bootstrap already have this height, I wouldn't like to waste my time adding this property. So I'll just go to that section in my code and add the view height of 100%, 100 view height from my Bootstrap class. So let's see what we have. We've done so much. Let's see what we have. Okay, my image is already here. All right, but there's something funny here. I'm having this scroll. I don't know if everyone can see this scroll bar, this horizontal scroll here. Okay, let's see what is causing that scroll. There is something you need to note when you are using a row or a column. It always gives that overflow. Okay. You have to use a container is with a space at the edge of the section. So I'll just the container. That should automatically move the scroll. Okay, that works. So the next thing we'll be doing text. So for the text, I will create another column for the text. So that is also going to have call 12. Then For a larger screen, for a medium screen, rather, we'll have called MD6. Then for a large screen, we'll have called 6, called 86. Okay. Let me wrap the text inside another div. I will have H. Let me use H3 for the header, for the best quality. Then I also have let me fix the paragraph first. Okay, so I have the paragraph, and then I also have the button, book now button. Okay, so book now. Okay, so let's see what we have here. All right. Paper. You have to make it look good. So what we'll do for the color, Bootstrap has this blue color, which is text primary. And then for the border, we are going to use Bootstrap border for this too. So what we'll do, and then we also use Bootstrap to style this button the way it is. So let's go back to our code, and then for the blue class, you'll use Bootstrap class. For primary, for the blue color. Okay. Then for the border, we will need a border class in Bootstrap. So for the border in Bootstrap, we just have border. Okay. Then to increase the let's see what we have first. Oh, okay. So we have this border around the text, which is not supposed to be so. What we just need is the border bottom. So let's specify the border we want using border bottom. The size 5. Let's see. Okay, so if you go to Bootstrap the documentation border, okay, you have different classes for border. First, you have border, which covers both top, bottom, left, and right border. Then you have border top in case you want to add border to just the top section of your work. Then we have border end, we have border bottom, we have border start. Then we also have border 0. This has to do with the thickness of okay, sorry, this is also a way to you place your borders from. Then for the colors, we have either primary, secondary, and the rest of them. So you just select from here which of the color you need. Then for the thickness, we have border 1, and then the number of any number that you want from 1 to 5. You can select from 1 to 5 depending on how thick you want the border to be. Okay, so for us, we'll be using border 5. I think I already added that. Okay. Then for the if you need border radius, you can come here. For rounded, you have this rounded corner. Then for rounded top, you see that it's just the top upper section that is rounded. Then for rounded circle, you can use this rounded radius. Okay. Then you can also have the side. So you can always refer back to this documentation whenever you get stuck or whenever you need clarification on something. So what mode do we need here? We need to change the color for this. So I'll go back to my code and then add border. Border. Let's see the class for the border color. Okay, the class is border primary. Let's use border danger for the red color. Let's see what we have. All right, so this is coming up well. So let's start our button. For the button, we have a class of btn for the styling. Then to specify the color, we have btn, the name of the color you want. In our case, we'll use this danger for the color. Okay. And it came out really nice. But then we don't have any padding here. So let's see how to add this space for top and bottom here. Okay. To add that space, instead of using padding or margin, I will just make it centralized, like using align item center. But to use align item, you have to flex your content. Okay. So I'll just place the whole display flex the whole div. So let me add that display flex here. Div flex is a Bootstrap class. Then you can add align items center to bring those content to the center. Oh, okay. So that works. Okay. All right. Okay, so before we move to the next section, does anyone have a question? If you have a question, you can raise your hand and then you'll be called to ask your question. Okay. Orife, I don't know if I'm correct. Unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
It is Oriofe. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so please, I would like that you explain the use of background
what?
position. When I used it, I think what I got was a zoom-like effect, because I used it so I could style my Euro page for the tablet version and the mobile version. I realized it was making the image larger. So is it a zoom-like effect? What's the use of the background position, 100% zero or 50% zero? That's my question. Thank you. If you can also, I would like that you explain your use of 100 view age for your Euro page. I noticed you used it in the last class and I tried using it, but then I sort of got scattered. So I wanted to explain that also. Thank you.
All right. For the background position, it's not for zooming the picture. It's just trying to position your picture, your background image. It's mostly used. It's actually used for background images. So you see, let's just try that. Okay. I will inspect this and then see how this works. So this is my image. This is the section I applied my background image to. Let's see, let's say I want to add the background position to this image and I want to center it. I want to put the image at the center, or I want the head section to show on my page, or I want the bottom section to show very well on my page. Okay, I'll use background position to position it the way I want. Let's say we want the bottom section to show. Okay, So the bottom section is actually showing and is cutting off the head section. If I want the center, you see the centered image is showing, like the center part of the image is showing. In here, it will just give you the normal view of the image. Okay. If you want it to show left, the image will start from the left part of the image to show. Okay. Then from the right, if you want it to show from right, it will start from the right part to show. Center shows from center, top shows from top, and then bottom shows from bottom. It doesn't zoom the image. Okay. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do. Thank you. Very clear.
Okay. For the view height, is actually the viewport for your screen. If you're using 100 view height, it's going to cover your screen. So let me say I am here. What you see, the screen you are seeing on your system or your mobile, okay, is your view height. So if you are using a view height or a view width, it will actually shows everything on that section on your screen. You will not have to scroll down to see what you have left, okay? Or you will not have any other content shown apart from that particular section. So view height actually specify the actual view of your screen. I don't know if you get that. So for example, now if I have this section, other contents are actually showing. We have the hero content, the hero image showing here, and we also have this other section showing as well. But this is just the section we want to display on the screen. So when someone comes to your page, you only see this particular section when you scroll to that particular area on your screen. So let's see how view heights can help us achieve this. I will inspect this section and then in my style, just add height view 100% view height. Okay, so you see other stuff are pushed down. So the section just occupy the whole screen. Okay, if you reduce it, it will just show to the point you want that to occupy. So just the view height just has to do with your view, your screen view, okay? As well as the view width just have to do with your screen view.
Okay, thank you, ma.
Okay. Does any other person have a question? Okay, so let's continue. Okay, Miss Yolu, your hand is up.
Yes, sorry, my question might sound funny, but yeah, I would really love to ask, like, why Bootstrap? Why not go for, I know it's a framework, it will make it easy, but is it not preferred to use pure CSS? What is your take on Bootstrap? My question.
Oh, okay. Like, have you tried using Bootstrap in any of your work? Like maybe practicing or anywhere?
I just get confused every time I try using it. It just scatters.
Okay, just scatters. So you prefer using CSS to Bootstrap, normal CSS to Bootstrap?
And maybe because I know them better. maybe, but whenever I tried using
it, you know, if you are using CSS in your code, the time it takes you to write all the 1,000 lines of code, let's say you are using 1 hour to achieve 1,000 lines of code, you can use 20 minutes or even 15 minutes to achieve that same thing with Bootstrap. So if you know you can actually reduce that time you waste on coding, why not use Bootstrap? But it's cool, you should understand CSS very well before going into Bootstrap, because there's some things that Bootstrap cannot do, and then you just have to use CSS to do it. There are limits to what Bootstrap can do. Okay, so mostly we use it for just to beat that time, so you won't have to waste much time on projects. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
And also note that going forward, we might be using Bootstrap in all the projects we're doing to avoid this waste of time, or yeah. So you have to start, if you don't know, or you don't like it, you have to start liking it, because we'll be using it a lot. Okay, Omotayo, your hand is up.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Please, I actually want you to shed more light on the colon 12, the one we use on the other container. Like the colon 12, medium size, column 6. I just want to know how it works. I'm getting confused already. Thanks.
Okay, well, did you join the last class we had?
Yeah, I did. Because even throughout the one I did, the task you gave us, I didn't use something like that. Seems I forgot. I just got to remember this morning when I saw it again.
You did you actually used Bootstrap, but you did not use rows and columns.
I didn't use that column.
Okay, it's not compulsory you have to use column. It's because if your work requires for it, you use it. For the columns, it's easier with Bootstrap when you use columns for your for anything that has to do with rows and columns. Maybe like you use your flex, display flex on normal CSS. You can, with columns, you can achieve that very easy. Okay, so let's say for this section. Okay, let's say for this section here,
Okay.
I want to use say columns for this section. With normal CSS, you use your display flex, and you have to set the screen size for medium, large screen, and all that to make it responsive across the different screens we have, the different devices we have. Okay, but with Bootstrap, you can easily do that by just calling the class. So for this section now, like I said in our last class, Bootstrap has 12 columns. That is the max. It's the maximum column Bootstrap has. So a section can occupy 1 column, 2 columns till it gets to 12. So depending on what you actually want to do on a particular section or on a particular row, then you know what columns to use for each of the columns. Yeah, what number of columns to use for each of the columns. Okay, so let's say for this section now, we want to use we have 2 columns here. This is the first column, and then we have the second columns. These 2 are in 1 row, so we specify the row in Bootstrap. Then for the first column, the second columns, we will divide these 2 by 12. I mean, we divide 12 by 2, okay? So when we divide 12 by 2, we have 6, right? So each of these will have 6 columns. Each of these will have 6 columns, okay? Let's just see how it works in action. Okay, let's use it for this section. Right. So for that section, let me create a section for that particular services. Then I will have my class container. This from Bootstrap. Then I will have my rule, my class rule. Okay, that is for the whole rule, for that rule. Then I have 3 items on this rule, that is 3 columns, okay? And I said that Bootstrap class has 12 column marks. So what I would do now is to divide these 3 columns, 12 by these 3 columns I have. Now divide 3 by these 3 columns, I will have 4, right? Yeah, so dividing 12 by 3 gives you 4. So you now know that each of these columns will have four columns each. If you have 4 items on a particular row, you have to divide 12 by that 4 items, and then each of them will now have 3, 3. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Okay, so let's try it out. So for the first column, we'll have code 12. This code 12 is actually for the different screen sizes we have, okay? So if I'm using code 12 here, it's just going to occupy the full screen, okay? Then if I use 6 here, it's going to divide the rows into 2. So I have the first item and then the second item. If I have 4 here, it will divide the rows into 3, first, second, and third. And if I have 3, it will just divide the row into 4. If I have 2 here, it will divide the row into 6. And 1 will just have all the 12 contents on one row. Okay, so let's see how each of them works. I'll just get this. Let me use H5 for that. Then I'll have the paragraph. So then for the image too, I'll have the images. Let me use this images. Then the name of the image. Okay, that is painting.svg. Okay, so this is what we have. My image is not coming up. I don't know why. Let me look at that again. Okay, so that is not the name of the image. I'll need to change the image to, let's say, repeat. Okay. Sorry, let me confirm the name of that particular image. Okay. Sorry, hold on. Let me confirm the name of the image. Okay. Oh, it's still the same image. Okay, I think the image is there. It's actually there. So it's just that it's white. Okay, the image is there. So what we need to do is to add the background color so it will come out. So with Bootstrap, we can just add the background color to it. Let me just add it to the image. So I have BG of danger. Then the image is rounded circle. So I'll just add the rounded circle class. And then let's see if that is coming out. Okay, it came out well. All right, so let me back my friends. Then I'll just give it a little padding. Padding all around, top, bottom, left, and right. So that will have, let me give it 3. Let's see how that goes. Oops. Okay. Okay, so the padding, it shouldn't be padding bottom, it should actually be all padding. Okay. Oh, that works. Okay. So what we have here is just the call 12. So call 12 occupy the full screen, the full width of a particular row. But if we have, oh, sorry about that. If we have call 6 here, you see that it will take half of the row, okay? Then it just keep reducing according to the number. But what we have here is we have 3 items on this particular row. So what we need to do is just divide 12 by the 3 items we have, and we'll have 4. Okay, so we'll now have space for other items to fill in. Let me just copy this and paste, copy and paste. Yeah, so we have this. So if I change any of these to 12, you notice what will happen. Other items breaks down. Why? Because this first one already occupies the full width of that particular row, which is column 12. Okay, so that is not what we need. We need 4 here. But then, if you inspect this, let's see how this looks on different screens, different devices. This is my mobile screen. Okay, this is not what the way it should look on mobile screen. Then on a a bigger screen. This is what we have, which is not nice. This is what we also have on this other screen. Then on tablet, this is what we have. Okay, this is free. And then on a large screen, this is what we have, which is better. So what we need to do is to make sure that this breaks down on a mobile device, any mobile device. So this is where we now have, we now specify the particular device we want to break down. We want that particular section to break down, okay? So what we'll do, since we know that this code 4 applies to all the screen sizes, we'll just leave it at 12, so that on all screen sizes, it will be 12. Then for the particular screen we want to make it 2, we could just specify that particular screen here by using either, let's use it for core. We want to make a medium screen 2 or 3 rather. So we just divide 12 by 3, which is, we'll have 4. Then for a larger screen, we need 3 also. So we'll just specify the 3, and then we'll have 4 here. Okay, so that applies to these other ones too. Yeah, so this is what we have on a smaller screen. Then on a medium screen, we have this. Then on a large screen, we have this. Okay, so I don't know if that has answered your question, or are you still confused?
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay. Welcome. All right, we need spacing between this section and the upper section. So we'll just use padding for that. I'll use PY. PY is for padding top and bottom. So I'll just give space between, I'll give space to the top and the bottom part of the section. Okay, that actually works. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we forgot to add our services. We just have that as services before the rule. So let's have code 4 here. Okay. Let's see what we have. Okay. All right. Let's make it bold a little using FW bold. That is another Bootstrap class. And then we can give it PT rather, PT. Let's give it 4. All right. Then let's also give it padding bottom. So instead of PT, I'll use PY for padding top and bottom. Okay, so that's 3. Okay, for this other section, we're done with the services section. Let's see how we can achieve this section as well with Bootstrap. For that, we have section. So this section is actually tricky a little. We have the first columns, we have the second, we have the third columns. But you notice that the about us columns is actually bigger than the images. Do first is to divide this column into 2. That is what we're going to do. So we have our rule. Let's first have our container here, container. Then we have a row. Then for the about us section, we'll just have a call to all first. Then on a medium screen, we'll have 6 call MD 6. For a large screen, we'll have call HG 6. Then we'll now have our contents. Let's use H. Let me see what I've been using for others. H4, okay. H4 here. About us. About us. Then for the service, we have H3. We'll have service here. Okay. Okay, so for the size, let's increase the size using Bootstrap font. I'll use display 5. Display 5 is for the thickness and for increasing the font size of a particular text. Okay. And then for the color, I'll be using white. So that will also comes from Bootstrap class. So let me wrap this whole thing inside a div and then give it a class. So this is going to have a class of white, text white from Bootstrap. Okay. Then for the background is blue. We'll also add the background color to it. BG blue, sorry, primary. Yeah, that is the color. Let's see how that works. Okay, so we have the background color added to this support us section. But the thing is, the background, our own background doesn't fill the page. So what we'll do is the container we added actually affected that section. So we'll just remove this container from there and then create a separate div for that container. Let me cut this and then just create a div for the container. And then paste my work. Okay. So let's see if that works. All right. Yeah. So we have about us and then yeah. Okay. You can use BR to break this thing down, this service down, or you can increase the font size since it's larger. What we have is actually smaller than what is on the template we are given. So let's see what we have here. Okay, the display of 1 is what we have there. While we have on our own, we have display of 5. I'll change that to 1. Then I'll remove this BR. And that will, okay, so that increases the size of the text. So the next thing we'll be looking at is the images, the image section. So we also need another column for it. But then note that after creating your column class, you have to close it. If you don't close it, you will be having that that clashing styling. Okay. So notice where my class, my column class is closed. The div for my column class is closed. Let me break this so you see. So after that, I will have another class, another div. Okay. Then also note that that div for the particular column is inside the row div. Okay. So you will not have that clash. If you put it outside the row, it will bring your content down. It will not work. So always be sure that this your div, your column is inside a row. Okay, and then just after the other columns that you had. Okay. So what we'll be doing next is adding the images. So for the images, we have two columns for this image. So remember that for this section, I divided this into two. So inside that one of the columns, I'm going to divide it again into two. Okay. I need this to be 6. Then on a last screen, I need this to be 6 also. Okay, so inside that particular columns, I will have another row with another column called 6. Then my images will go in here. Image. Let me just put this in a div. Okay, so I'll have my image tag here. Image. Then the name of the image. This is the name of the image. So let's see what we have first before we continue. Oh, okay, this is what we have. The image is so big. We have to make it responsive using image fluid in Bootstrap. Okay. All right, so we have the original size, the normal size for the particular div. So the next thing we'll be looking at is adding more images. Okay. Okay. That is for the first one. So for the second one, we also need to add another column for the second one. And then we'll just have a div wrapped around the image. So we'll have the image here, then the name of the image. Okay, let me get the name. Okay, so the name of the image, and then we'll just have another image under it. So let's see if this works. Oh, okay, this is what we have. we need to resize it so that it will actually have fit into that particular section using the image field, img field from Bootstrap. Then we also add it to this one, class field. Okay. Yeah, okay, so this is what we have. Okay, let's try changing the images. For this one, I'll have this. Then for the upper one, I will have let me have this here. Okay. Yeah, so this is what we have. Then for the spacing, we'll just give each of them a padding top of 3. Let me just copy them to here. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so here, this is what we have. Well, it's not very close to what we have here. So what I'll do, the height for this is not actually the same. So I'll just give it a fixed height of 100% so that it will take up the whole space for, yeah, it will take up the whole space for that particular section. So what I will use is a class called Bootstrap class called H100. So that is height 100. Then I will equally give this one a height of 100. Wow, that did not work. Okay. Okay, so let's see what is happening here. Let's see what is happening. Well, another thing we could do here is giving this each of them a class, a column. Okay, so since we have since we divided this column into 2, and then we have another row for the images, we actually have a separate columns for each of these images. I don't know if you understand. This is what I mean. For the image row, we have this. Okay. So I could actually make these images to be on the one row. Then I will now have another row for the second image. For the second images, that is for the bottom images. Let's see if that works. So that we'll have that fixed heights, and then the image will cover the whole columns of that div. So we have for call 12, call 6 rather. Then we have one of the image here. Then we'll have another call. Okay. So let's see how we can actually make this fit into. Let me remove the padding. Oh. And I don't think we'll even need this div since the padding is out. So let's just leave the image on the column the way it is. Okay. And then close this up. Okay, that works. Let's give it a space here. I'll give it a space from here. PT 4. Okay, then for the padding, we're going to give the whole container a padding. Let me give this padding of PY of 5. All right, so we have this. Okay. Okay, so for this section, this image and the about us section, do we have any question concerning how we achieve this images row and the about us section? Does anyone have a question for this particular section? Okay, in the absence of any question, we'll just move on to the next section, which is this the footer and the get your to-do list completed by a real professional. So let's see how we can achieve that section. Okay. I'll just copy this text. Then for that text, I'll be using I'll use H4 for that text. And for the bottom text, I'll use a paragraph. So I'll just copy this and then put in here. Then I could just give this a break so that it will break down on the screen. Okay, and let's see if that works. Okay, so we have everything here. So to push it to the center, we'll just use some class text center. Okay, then for the padding, we could just use PY5. Okay. And then for the fonts, I think we need to increase the font or increase the font with FW. We can use some. Let's try that. that no. Oh, let me search for a font width. Font width. Okay, so we have bold or bolder. I will use font with bold here. Let me see if bold works. Okay. Let's see if it's close to what we have. No, it's not. I'll make it bold. Okay. Okay, I think we'll just go with this. I think Google Fonts is adding more font weight to our text. Let me increase this font size to at least 3 and see if it will come out. We'll just go with this. So for the footer, we'll have, let me see what we have on the footer. Okay, so we have this text on the footer. Let's see how to add that. I'll create a footer div for that section. Then for the footer, we'll have a background of secondary. Let me use secondary. Then I will have paragraph of a paragraph here. Okay. Let's check the Bootstrap background color. Okay, so we have dark in Bootstrap for the background color, and that is what we need. I'll just change this to dark. Then for the text center, I'll just add text center. Then I'll remove any spacing that this paragraph has. So I'll just make it margin 0 so that any paragraph it has will be removed. Any spacing it has will be removed. Okay. So we have this. But it seems you're not seeing our text because by default it's black and we added a black background. So for our text, we're going to change the color to white using Bootstrap and Bootstrap class. Okay, so we have it here as white. Okay, and that is how we complete templates. Does anyone have a question? If not for this template concerning Bootstrap. Or is there any section here you're confused or you don't understand how you can go about it using Bootstrap? You can ask. Okay, I want to believe that we all understand how to use Bootstrap. But then I also want to point out something to everyone here. If you are trying to use a particular Bootstrap class and you find out that for that particular class, maybe for a paragraph like the P and the paragraph the spacing you want to give is actually bigger than what Bootstrap has provided, you can change the class and then add your own CSS custom class. Okay, so one way you can do that, let's say you're trying to give more spacing to this footer, inspiration from this. So, and you find out that the maximum paragraph, the maximum spacing that Bootstrap provide is just P5. So the max is just 5. And then you want that particular section to be, you want this spacing to be more than this. So what you just do is either you add a class here, you add your own custom class. Let's say, let me say more space. So you could just add your own custom class, more space, and then go to your style, your custom style. Then specify where you want the spacing to apply more. Okay, so in that case we have top and bottom space padding for it, since we're using PY. So PY is for top and bottom. So what you just do for the top, you can add padding top, and then you specify the number, the spacing, either using your pixel or using your REM. I could love to use REM. So let me use REM here. Then let's see if that works. For padding bottom too, padding bottom, I'll use, let's say 6 REM. It seems it didn't work. So the question is why? Let's inspect and see why that class did not work. Okay, so this is our class. More space is our class, but on the browser, it's actually cancelled here. You see this this cross line. This it's not, this class is not recognized by the browser. Like, it's not having any effect on the browser. Why? Because the Bootstrap class override it. So this is a Bootstrap class. And in Bootstrap already have this thing called important attached to it. So whenever you see this important attached to any class, it means whatever class you're adding, even if it comes first or last, that particular class will always be the one to come first on the on your web page. Okay, so to change that, you can also add important to your own custom class. Okay, if you notice that Bootstrap attached important to it, you can also attach important to your own custom class. Orife, your hand is up. Sorry, I'm calling your name wrongly.
It's fine. Yeah, okay. So okay, as per what you mentioned now about overriding and creating a custom class, even when we are not satisfied with what Bootstrap gives us. So in the case where that happens, and what's it called, the Bootstrap classifications and everything is written on the main CSS, or sorry, even on the HTML, and now you want to create a media query and what you specify should contradict what should be what is on the HTML. But at the end of the day, I discovered that it does not override it. So it's like maybe creating column
Sorry, I didn't really get
for
your
on
question.
HTML. Then when I try to override that in media query, okay, let me say that
Can you
again.
hear me?
In trying to override, hello ma.
I can hear you continue.
Okay, in trying to override what Bootstrap has given us, that's what my question is on. So in creating a media query, how can my media query rules override what are specified on my HTML document with Bootstrap?
Okay.
It does not. Yes,
It
for
does
media
not?
query, now maybe for desktop or phone.
Okay.
Not for desktop, but for tablet, sorry, for tablet or phone, not for desktop now.
But okay. But before then, you also know how to, you should know how to link your Bootstrap to your page. If you have your style before Bootstrap, here, you can see my screen, right? If you have your style before Bootstrap, Bootstrap will always override any style you have in your style, in your custom style. So it's advisable you have your style after Bootstrap link. You link your style after Bootstrap. Okay.
Okay, I actually did that. My
Okay.
custom style was below the Bootstrap style sheet, link ref. However, in the case, okay, let me give an
Okay, another thing.
example.
Hold
In the
on.
case of
Hold
what's it
on.
called, maybe a background color, the blue that Bootstrap offered me. Okay.
Another thing you also notice that important, most of Bootstrap classes, they attach important to it. So, okay, so if you don't use, if you notice that Bootstrap actually attach important and you don't attach important to your own class, it will not work because the browser will always see that's important, the other class. So attaching important is like saying this one is more important to
Okay. So
any
Bootstrap
other,
attaches import to everything.
not
Okay.
to
So that means when I want to
everything.
create,
I am not
does
saying it attach important to everything. I'm saying that it attach important to some of its classes.
oh, okay.
Okay, so like this padding now, Bootstrap attach important to all the padding classes it has.
Okay.
Yeah, and then for margin to it attaches important and some other classes as well. So if you notice that Bootstrap has attached important to its class, you also need to use that important to just yeah, override with your Bootstrap class, your class Bootstrap class. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
ma.
And
Thank
then
you.
you also need to make sure that the class that Bootstrap has, you can customize it with your own. For instance, you have align item center. You can take this align item center to your custom class and change the contents for that align item center. It will work. But note that in the case where it apply important and your own is not important too, it will not work. Okay.
Okay.
And then another thing you should also know is that don't try, it's not a good practice to go to the Bootstrap file and change some things. If there's anything you need to change, you have to change it from your own custom CSS.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Okay.
That Bootstrap CSS is too overwhelming. I don't even go there.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question?
Thank you, ma.
So you want me to believe that you fully understand how to use Bootstrap or go about everything in Bootstrap. You can do it now. If any project is given to do on Bootstrap, you will do it.
Hello, ma.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we can actually utilize Bootstrap right now, especially with the fact that some of us just finished battling these stacks using just.
Sorry, I can't hear you clearly.
So, hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, continue.
Okay, so I said I can't say we can outrightly utilize Bootstrap since we've not done hands-on section, especially with the fact that we just finished battling the current tags using pure CSS. So I want to believe that many of our questions will be coming when we start to utilize the Bootstrap directly, because for now it's still looking where it's looking almost easy. It's just for us to know the classes and all. But then I believe when we start to utilize it, that's when we'll know if we have issues.
All right, yeah, that is very correct. It's true. Okay. Does any other person have something to say? Okay, so this is where we'll be rounding up the class.
So there's a hand up, I mean, Rufi.
Okay, her hand is always up. I don't know if that is by mistake. Rufi. Okay, her hand is down. Okay,
I'm
so
sorry, I forgot to drop it.
all right, no problem. Okay, so I want to believe that we are okay and we don't have any other issue. We'll be rounding up the class now. IK, are you on this call?
Yes, I'm actually on this call, but I think you guys are done. So promise you can just round up the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you everyone for joining and do have a wonderful day. Thank you.